Hello, so today we're going to be going over a ZOE reroll game. So I actually play Ghostly ZOE. I very rarely play this comp because I don't feel like it caps very high. And I feel like, I don't know, I don't like it. I don't have faith in Zyra. And I know that might be shocking to some people, maybe, but I generally try to avoid reroll. I don't like playing reroll because I feel like, you know, it's very contingent on if you hit, you top 4, if you miss, you bot 4. And there's not many outs sometimes. You have to make a decision really early, and if you commit too early and you just low roll, there's no salvaging the game, similar to like when you're playing around 4 costs. Like sometimes you can just tempo level, you can stabilize around different units. A lot of times reroll boards are very fixed. But anyways, I'm trying to get in my reps. A lot of the videos this week, towards the end of the set now. We're winding down to set 12 starting soon. I'm playing a bunch of rerolls just because I feel like that's the way that the meta is shaped. It's very committable on 2-1, and I feel like having good direction early on puts you in a really good spot for late game. So I'm trying my best in the last couple videos here to do as many rerolls as I can in order to best fit what I think the current meta is. So I'm not like hypocritical. I think reroll is like, you know, you should be rerolling at least 50% or more of your games this patch. And I just found out they're not patching it. I thought there was going to be a Wednesday patch, but there's going to be no changes. And I think this is the last patch of the set, so they just decided that this is what it is. So I guess that's that. I'll maybe do a fun video that's like the end of set, like end of set 11 and prepping for set 12 type of thing. I'll just like give my final thoughts on the set in its entirety. But for me, I'm kind of like, I've been saying for many weeks now, I kind of gave up on the set. I'm not really like trying to grind to get high placement or anything. Here, I'm not sure exactly what to take. Keepers I can play towards Duelists, but I think that's a little bit awkward of a line. I'm trying to think if I play, like Buried Treasure is good just to get items, and it's, so I'm kind of down just to take Buried Treasures. Branching out is really risky. But looking at this spot, I got dropped to Janna early. I'm thinking maybe I could play Janna reroll, right? I have the option of making a Shiv, which is a really good Janna Lux item, right? If you don't know Janna reroll, now Janna reroll, you typically play Janna with Lux. But every lobby, there's somebody that's hard forcing towards Janna. So I find that it's really difficult. Before Janna used to be like my secret sauce that I used to play all the time. And I was really happy with playing around Janna reroll because everybody like thought she was shit for like the entire set. They didn't really change her at all. They kind of changed Lux a little bit. They changed some other stuff. But now everybody just hard forces Janna Lux reroll. And for that comp, you really need to hit Janna 3. So if you're contested even in the slightest, I just avoid it at all costs. But here I'm just going to make 20. I'm just going to try and be as rich as possible. I am angling it. Now I'm trying to scout to see who can possibly be playing towards Janna or Lux. If I'm the only one, then I will play Janna Lux reroll. That's my goal, at least right now. I hit a ZOE early. On the other hand, like, you know, I sometimes say, like, I don't really have faith in Zyra. I was talking about how I'm going to end up playing Ghostly. I have a good assortment of items here. I could just play towards ZOE. ZOE, on the other hand, like, ZOE is a very, like, feast or famine kind of unit. If she gets kills, like, if your ZOE is able to kill units, like, if you have good enough matchups where, like, they have shitter units on their board that are really weak, then ZOE can pop off really easily. The way ZOE works is that when she kills units, she gets extra ricochets. And these ricochets do a lot of damage. So you really want ZOE to kind of like kill shit as fast as possible, right? That's why the Ghostly reroll works really well with ZOE in there. Because if ZOE just starts killing units, you get into like a really strong situation where she just kind of scales really well in the fight. But you know, we're gonna see exactly how it ends off. I'm kind of looking here. I'm considering just doing a 5-loss streak, right? The rest of the lobby seems decently strong. I don't have a particularly strong silver augment, and I don't think I want to necessarily slam the most amount of items, or I don't necessarily want to slam items and commit super hard. I know I passed on Aatrox. I'm not sure if I'm playing Ghostly right now. I'm kind of waiting it out to see like what kind of reroll could I angle. This is what happens if you don't just start with like a very clear unit. I want to play Janna. This guy looks like he's holding a bunch of Ghostly units. This guy has a Lux 2 already, and this guy also is holding a Lux. So because there's so many people holding Luxes, and I have 0 of them, and all I have is a single Janna, I don't really think I can play towards Janna in this particular state, right? I want to angle AP because I have like good AP items, right? I can make Spark, I can make Shiv, I can make Adaptive Helm, I can make like I can make Morello. Like I have all items that are slammable. It's just a matter of, do I want to play specifically a reroll line, or am I going to try and play towards like a Lilia, right? But I started today thinking to myself, I really want to play a lot of reroll to end off the patch, because I think that's really important to either have that skill set if I want to try and grind a little bit before the set ends, but also in terms of the YouTube channel, just to be like non-hypocritical, because I feel like last week my biggest problem that I found with my content was that I kept saying like, oh, I think this is a reroll meta. I think this is a reroll meta. And I kept saying, I think this is a reroll meta, guys. And then every single game I was playing a 4 cost. Like, so, I thought now would be a good time. I'm kind of trying to force the issue a little bit. At least that's what I did today. Today was like my mini grind session that I tried to get ready for all the future uploads for the week. While we're sitting here, I took Zoe with tier. I'll go over some stats, but before we do that, I have a really exciting announcement for some of you that might have been waiting for this. Hello. So we reached our sub goal of 500 YouTube subs, so we're going to be doing another TFT RP giveaway. You must be subscribed, join the Discord, and then join the giveaway in the TFT giveaway channel. This particular giveaway will end on July 17th. If you want to know how to join the Discord, there is a link to my Discord in each of the YouTube videos. I'll also make a comment about it. You click it, it'll launch the app. You go into the Discord, you'll see that you join the Wolfgang Discord. That's my stream and Twitch and YouTube Discord. And then I have the TFT giveaway channel. And then basically you'll just go here. You'll enter the giveaway by pressing the button. And I believe there'll be, I'm deciding, I think there's going to be only one winner this time for 1350 RP. So if you would like to enter, please make sure to enter the giveaway in the Discord. And thank you for watching my videos, and thank you for the support. Alright, and we're back to the game. So you'll notice that I made blue buff. I'm not exactly sure, like blue buff fits the whole Zoe threshold. So this is the part where I don't understand, particularly with this comp. This is why I don't have a lot of faith in the comp, right? So let's just pull up stats right now, right? For a second here. Okay, that's the song. Let's say like Shen 3, right? If I say Shen 3, right? What's the average? The average is like sub 4. It's like sub 4, right? Shen 3 is like a huge, really good unit. There's many different lines that work with it. If I go Shen 3, Senna 3, for example, you'll see that it averages like a 3.75. It's pretty good, right? If I go Shen 3, Zyra 3, it averages 3.5. So Zyra is supposed to be better than like the Senna line, which I feel really comfortable with. The Senna line, I feel like there's many options. So like if you have AP items, I definitely feel like Zyra is good. But the problem is, like, let's say you only have like a Zoe. Let's just put like Zoe here, right? You'll see the average like a 3.5, and this is already kind of high roll if you're playing like around Senna and Zyra. But the thing is, like, if you have like a Zoe 2, it's so much worse, right? Look, like the stats only matter if you have like a Zoe 3. If you have a Zoe 2, you're closer to a 4, right? If I swap these around, I say I have a Zyra 2 and a Zoe 3, you can see that the average is a little bit better, right? I'm not exactly sure how to build these units in the best way possible, because I'm not 100% sure on what the best item combos are. Now, I think that Zoe is just better than Zyra in general. I don't like investing so much gold into Zyra because all the times I play this comp and I itemize Zyra is so finicky with items, I find, right? I feel like almost everything that you put on Zyra, she's like, it says Thieves Gloves is really good on her. You know what I mean? Static Shiv. It's like a lot of the items on Zyra are just bad. Sorry, let me put 3-star. That's my bad. I find that's really hard to itemize her, right? Because I feel like a lot of the items are just like plus delta or like neutral delta. And I don't know. I don't believe in Zyra that much when I'm playing this comp. Maybe I'm like horribly mistaken. I guess the stats are pretty good on her. Maybe I'm just wrong. I'd rather just play towards Zoe 3. I think that when you have a Zoe 3, I feel like she just goes infinite, and I feel like a Zoe 2 is way more stable than a Zyra 2, right? So if I get stuck, I feel like having a Zoe 2 is a lot better. Here, if I go like craftable items, the one thing that I found that was really cool is that for some reason Adaptive Helm is really good in terms of a mana item. Like obviously Shiv's going to be really important, and then red buff here is really strong, right? But these ones, don't look at these items. These are like very specific game situations. So I decided that maybe I should just go like I checked out like what does Adaptive Helm go good with? It's like, oh, it goes good with like red buff and blue buff. And obviously this looks like a really niche build. Hextech Gunblade is also really good. So I decided like maybe I could just go like Adaptive Helm, blue buff, and something else, right? The other thing that I wanted to bring up is just in terms of the team builder. the thing about Zoe that's great is that Zoe's really flexible in terms of what you can build her around, right? You can build her around Arcanist, right? So you could literally just play vertical Arcanist if all else fails. And you can just play towards 6 Arcanist, right? Sorry, like this. And then you usually play like Alawi. Where is it? Amumu. Where's Amumu? Like you can reroll on 7 and go for this board, basically, right? Where you're going for Zoe 3, and you can itemize the Zoe 3 and just play around 6 Arcanists and just try and build her to one-shot. If you're not building the 6 Arcanist board, you can play the board, that very standard board where you just play all of these units. Let me find them. I think it's called the 7 Fairies board, but they changed it now because you don't play Janna on this board anymore. Instead of Janna, you play Tahm Kench. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who am I missing? I'm missing Soraka. You can also play this reroll board. This is one that I'm really familiar with. This is the old Janna reroll board. So instead of Tahm Kench, you would usually play Janna instead. And this was like the very ancient Janna reroll board that's very easy to play around, right? So you basically play this core, you get Story Reaver, Ultras, Arcanist, Bruiser, Heavenly, and Sage. And you're playing Tahm Kench as like an extra frontline unit to help out the Zoe and the Zyra in terms of doing damage. And you can basically 3-star everybody, right? If you want to, you can 3-star literally everybody, and they're all like gonna help out in their own way. The other thing you can do is you can also push levels, and you can play like Vertical Dragon Lord or Sage, right? So you can play towards like, you know, you can even fit in like an Annie as a frontline unit in a lot of cases. It's very flexible. And then the final variation, which is the one I end up going for this game just because I hit the units, is you play around this, Riven. This is the Ghostly variation. So typically with the Ghostly variation, I think the Ghostly variation is the strongest version, but it's also like the units are very contested a lot of the time. But typically you'll play a board something like this. It's basically Sage and Ghostly. I need an Aatrox for 4 Ghostly. And then you cap out around Diana. Where's Diana? Here we go, Diana. Right? So you'll play something like this, and then Shen, your main tank is Shen because Shen's really good. And this is like the Zyra Zoe reroll. So typically you reroll Zyra and Shen because they're both 2 costs, so you can efficiently roll on level 6. But you can just go to level 7 and the board kind of fits in really nicely on level 7. You just have to drop Diana, and then you have 4 Ghostly and 2 Sage, and then you can put the Diana back in later, right? And then typically you're picking Blue Kale, right? Because she just gives AP and you want to have as much AP as possible. So I'll just put it on so you guys can see. You put Blue Kale. And then the Zyra Zoe items are kind of awkward. Zyra typically you want like attack speed and mana. And Zoe you typically just want to be able to like do a bunch of damage. So you want to just stack her with like vertical like damage buffs. Shen you want him to be as tanky as possible. So typically you're making like gargoyles like in this build because he's like a solo frontline. So if you can, you're just gonna shove a bunch of gargoyles on him, and he'll tank as much as possible. And it basically works like a typical Ghostly board. You can cap out on 6 Ghostly, you can cap out by putting extra Sage, and then you have Zyra and Zoe to deal with it, right? The main thing that I was trying to bring up before is that if I play just towards Zyra, I feel like I don't have the option of easily pivoting between those 3 options, right? Even if I'm playing reroll, I'm kind of a little bit far in the video, but I can kind of fill in everybody after. But basically, how do I phrase it? Let me roll. Let me go a bit earlier. So it's Scuttle Puddle. Everybody's gonna have a bunch of gold. Everybody's gonna hit. I'm just worried that I'm not gonna hit particularly early. So we're just gonna try our best, right? I looked at the stats. Remember I said that like with Zoe blue buff adaptive is really good, and then like blue buff adaptive with red buff is also good. So here I just decide to make blue buff, adaptive, red buff, and then I'm just going to make a spark. Originally, if you look at my board, I'm kind of playing towards the variation that I showed you, the 7 pixies or 7 girls, whatever you call it. I forget the name that they had for it in China. But that's like where the comp kind of gets its name from. I'm basically playing like maybe I 3-star Tahm Kench and I 3-star Zoe, and I just play around this board. Or I play around Vertical Arcanist. That's why I'm also holding on to the Amumu. As you can see, I'm kind of flexing between 3 or 4 different boards, right? I know it might be a bit scattered. I'm obviously like, you know, it's been a long day. I'm trying to get this video out on time, and I had to do some other stuff. But hopefully the main point that I'm trying to make in the video, the one takeaway you should take is like, even if you're playing towards a reroll, you should make sure that your options are open for multiple reroll lines, or the option to level and then play towards a particular 4 costs out of that reroll comp, right? There's a video where I pivoted into Lux that was on my channel where I played Lux reroll. And then I was contested. I didn't find any Luxes. So then I sold the Lux. I put the items on Lilia and I was able to get a top 4, right? For me, I don't want to be sitting here putting items on Zyra and then rolling for Zyra 3. Because sometimes if you don't hit the Zyra 3, I feel like the comp really falls apart really fast. So I was kind of angling myself more towards a line like this, where I can, if I play around ZOE, right, if I build ZOE items and I kind of create like this ZOE unit and make her very strong, then I have the options to play multiple different variations because I'm familiar with a couple different variations of ZOE. It's not the highest cap variation, obviously. I should be like, you know, if I itemize Zyra, I can roll more efficiently on level 6. You know, there's other options to do. Here I'm rolling and I'm a bit inefficient. I'm basically just looking for a ZOE upgrade. If I hit ZOE 2, I think I streaked this entire stage. So I'm just rolling towards hitting this ZOE 2 because I'm ZOE paired, right? Obviously, it's a little bit of high roll on level 6 to hit it. But at the same time, I'm collecting other copies of units that will help me out, right? I already have a copy of a Morgana. And I'm just slow rolling 30 here. There's a couple Shens in my shop, so I'm kind of contemplating, do I just sell my units and just play the ghostly variation? Because it's basically like, that's what I mean by be open to whatever you hit, right? I hit the Alawi, so I sell Soraka. I should buy both Shens. Do I just not? Oh, I missed a Shen. Ooh, that's really sad. Okay, my bad. I should have bought that Shen. I didn't buy it in time. But what I say to myself is that I just hit more ghostly units than I did the other units, right? I didn't find as many Tom Kenches, and the other units then make my board strong. So I'm just gonna play this variation, right? I have Giga juiced ZOE. I should win every fight. I have triple item on ZOE. I didn't slam my Thieves Gloves. It was a bit of a messy round. This was the first game I played of the day, and it's also the first game I played within the last week, I think. So I am a little bit rusty, so, you know, just be nice, right? But yeah, now I'm kind of just committed towards like the ghostly variation of this line. Obviously, I don't have that many Shens or that many Alawis, but I am very stable, right? I have triple item ZOE, and these items are absolutely insane because when she gets a kill, blue buff kicks in and does a bunch of damage. For some reason, blue buff adaptive helm in the stats is really good on her. I don't know exactly why. Maybe it makes the mana thresholds work out perfectly for her and she just does a shit ton of damage. And then I gave her red buff, which handles my anti-heal as well as makes it so that she does bonus damage, right? It's like, you know, obviously probably a Rabadon's is better on her, or like a Jeweled Gauntlet is probably better. But, you know, in my head, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, like I'm down to just make red buff, because that's if I tried to hold items, I wouldn't be as strong early. Something that's always important is that reroll, you have to be strong early, right? There's very few times where if you're reroll and you're not strong early, do you ever actually win out, right? Reroll, the whole point of reroll is that you're trying to hit a bunch of units, get a bunch of upgrades by rolling earlier than everybody else. The people that are saving their money to roll on level 8, roll on level 9, those people should inherently have weaker boards unless they're giga high rolling. So for you with a reroll, you want to win a lot of those early fights, because if you don't win those early fights, then you're going to find yourself very far behind, because your board eventually is going to get outcapped by some of those other boards that have stronger units on them, right? Especially if you don't hit your 3 stars. Here, I'm frontlining my Morgana. I think that my ZOE will do enough damage to win most of these fights. I just have to give her the time to cast. So anybody being in the front line, Morgana's a Sage. She has a lot of HP, right? So she gets a little bit of Omnivamp. I'm down to sack the Morgana a little bit in terms of like just being in the front row and not necessarily being a damage dealer in the back row to help balance my board out a little bit. But as you can see, the ZOE's kind of going nuts. None of these fights are close. This is what usually happens if you're committing to reroll. You hit early and you're a lot stronger. I do want to level to 7, and I want to roll on level 7 so that I can go for a ZOE 3 because the odds are better on level 7, right? And then I saw this Tom Kenshin. Yes, I'm 3 bruiser, but I don't really have anybody else to put in. I'm not going to sell Tom Kench to put the items on Shen, but eventually I will once I hit a couple more Shens. I'm just econ maxing right now. Like I said, I want to go to level 7. I'm going to fit the board in onto my board, and it should be fine. Now, this was a little bit of a rocky, like, you know, it's not like I hit everything early and I played it, like, right off rip. I was kind of very hesitant. This is why I don't like reroll that much, because, like, you know, I could have committed a little bit earlier. I definitely missed 1 or 2 Shens that I could have had the Shens and put myself in a better position for this line. But I was more angling this board, right? And as you can see in my team planner, I'm still angling this board just because I don't have that many Shens. I'm just holding on to the Shens because I know that I'll probably pivot there. But I'm still thinking about that, the other variation that I showed you. And this is the flexibility you have around playing around ZOE, right? It's not as much as, you know, if you try and build that board with Zyra, it doesn't work as well, in my opinion, or the way that I play it. So I'm just sitting here. We'll see what I hit, right? If I hit, I'm holding on to Shens, right? It's costing me a little bit of econ, obviously, my bench. But I'm still making 50, so I should be fine for this turn. And this guy hits so early, by the way. Like, look at his board. He's 50 gold, level 6, and he has a Lux 3. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck am I playing against? It's one of those lobbies, right? So thank God I didn't contest him, because that would have been a shit show. But anyways, I digress. We just need, it's Scuttle Puddle. Everybody's inflated with gold. I'm not particularly rich, but I did roll really deep on level 6, especially to find this ZOE upgrade. And then here, I'm just looking for items, the best that I can. I already have anti-heal, so I don't need to make Morello. I have a Thieves Gloves, which is great. So I'm definitely going to make a Thieves Gloves, put on one of my frontline units. And then here, I'm just pre-leveling to 7, because I'm going to roll a little bit here, right? So we're going to level to 7. And we're going to roll a little bit. I find a Soraka. Soraka's good to just put in now. She gives Ultras, which gives everybody some tankiness. As you can see, I'm finding a couple Shens, finding some Zyra, so I'm down to hold on to them. Zyra upgrade's great. Another ZOE, that's great for me. I'm deciding if I upgrade this Nico. There's another Shen here. This is my main decision that I have to make. Because I have to do this right now. Now, who do I Thieves Gloves? I don't know if... I think I Thieves Gloves the Aatrox, which is really bad. Yeah, this is just awful. Okay, this was a poorly played round, but it's okay. I should have Thieves Gloves. I think it's Thieves Gloves Aatrox, actually. It's fine. It's not that bad. I put in Soraka. Making the Nico is a problem. I shouldn't have made this Nico. Because now I have more... basically, I have more Shens than I have Tahm Kenches. That's the deciding factor, right? I've been holding on to these units because I'm basically saying to myself, whoever I hit more of, Shen or Tahm Kench, I'm going to sell one, I'm going to itemize the other. Right, I'm either going to play the variation where I put Nico in instead of Ghostly, or I play the variation where I'm just playing Ghostly. Right, that's like my main idea. If you haven't seen the other variation, it is a lower cap variation, but it's easier to hit because a lot of people don't, like, nobody's buying Tahm Kench, right? But Shen and some of these other Ghostly units, especially like Diana, like sometimes you run into problems with them and then you have issues, right? In that comp, you can just roll for Tahm Kench, right? But I'm rolling on 7 because I'm playing around ZOE. It's Story Weaver Crest. Crown Guard isn't that great. Ascension isn't that great. I can take Story Weaver Crest and play 5 Story Weaver. I had Combat Caster. This is definitely the best. I want any type of combat augment. I'm kind of down. And then I think this turn is when I decide to just play Vertical Ghostly, which we'll see in a second, right? I upgraded too many units. I'm just going to sell everything. I'm going to sell this guy. I'm going to put Shen. These items are good on Shen. I just need to get like a Gargoyle, and I have half of a Gargoyle component, so I'm just going for Chainmail on bench, and I should be fine, right? And then Alawi over Soraka, and now my board should be really good. I can also now backline the Morgana to do some extra damage because my front line should be good enough. And I think now I should be stronger than most people. This is what I mean by ZOE 2 I have a lot more faith in, right? Like, if I was playing around Zyra here, I definitely don't think I win. Oh, I'm definitely losing this fight, by the way. I didn't position around him. I should have put ZOE over here. But it actually works out good because there's so much... My front line kind of clumps, so my ZOE didn't get stunned. But look at this guy. This guy has Lux 3. Combat Caster, so he even has, like, a combat augment. Very far ahead, right? But I feel like ZOE in a good setup like this, I have no 3 stars. This is why I like to play around ZOE with this line instead of Zyra. Because I find that when I play around ZOE, I am so much more stable. I lose so much less HP. Like, with this Zyra unit, sometimes she just fucking doesn't do anything. You just fucking die. Right? The ZOE is, like, the real damage dealer a lot of the times. But now I'm switching my board, right? I'm committed Ghostly. It took me really long to commit here. That's what I mean by if you commit on 2-1, like, without knowing. Like, it's easier for me to commit now because I know what I hit. And it's very clear that I'm in a good Ghostly spot as opposed to, like, the other variation. But the thing is, if I committed Ghostly early and I didn't find any Shens, like, what happens? You know what I mean? This is bad positioning as well. I'm clumped against Morgana, so my whole backline is just getting completely deleted here, which is pretty bad. But I still think I can win this. It depends how the ghostly stacks go. There's a lot of RNG with this comp. But if you look at this ZOE, she's just deleting everybody. It's a ZOE 2, by the way. It's not even a ZOE 3. 8k damage, ZOE 2. Right? It's just so much better to me. I don't know. I might be bad at the game. Don't take my word for it. This guy takes the ZOE, which sucks because I'm kind of need to send it very soon to try and find the ZOE 3. ZOE 2 is stable for stage 4, right? What I mean by stable is that I don't expect to win every single fight, but I'm probably gonna win most of the fights, if that makes sense. So here I really want this guy. Just make my last Shen item. I should have been more on the nose because if somebody wanted to deny me, they could have easily taken it before me. But yeah, it's fine. I feel like ZOE 2 does so much more damage that I'm so much more stable on stage 4 that I feel like I have a good win out potential, right? So here I'm just slow rolling a little bit. I have around like 10 gold to sell on bench, so that's why I'm rolling a little bit deeper than 50, but I should make 50 gold net this turn unless I hit something crazy like another ZOE, and then I think I want to roll a little bit deeper. See, and then I'm probably just going to sell both these Sorakas. Soraka's probably my next in, but is not necessarily required, right? You can kind of end the game with this board because you can just go for Zyra 3, Alawi 3. You can just keep rolling on level 7 until you hit all the 3 stars and just guarantee a top 4. But yeah, I'm so focused on like trying to hit the units that I'm not positioning really well in these fights. I expect to not cap as high as I could have, right? Obviously my mistakes, I think it probably cost me like 1 placement this game. I don't think I'm outplacing even though I beat the Lux dude. I think the Lux dude hitting the Lux so early is so far ahead. Yeah, this guy I would have beat if I positioned better. The Wei got too much value on my backline, which sucked. So there's a lot of fights. Some of these fights I'm tossing, but it's okay. Training dummies are okay. I should also solo frontline my Shen, just to make sure the ghostly stacks get as high as possible. But we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing. Hold on to a Morgana is fine. Riven, I don't know why I shouldn't. I'm making these Rivens just in case, because Riven with Thieves Gloves, she's going to do some work for my team. And then I just rolled a 30 here. You rarely want to break 30 as a threshold, because 30 makes it really easy to make 30, make 40, make 50, right? The way that you get plus 3 gold of interest when you're at 30 gold, it makes it very easy to make the next threshold of 40, because all you need is like 1 streak, I think, and it perfectly lines up that you make it to... Like, if you win a fight and you're streaking with a streak of 2, I think, or whatever, you make it to 40, and then you can make it to 50 right after that by the same logic. When you drop below 30, then it takes a little bit longer to reestablish your econ back to 50 gold. So that's why you rarely want to drop below 30 when you're rolling. Only if you're in, like, dire straits and you need to hit. Or if you're, like, one-off that your board's going to spike really hard. Like, if I was one-off ZOE, I would send it to 0, because hitting the ZOE 3 is just way more guaranteed. There's not really much reason to greed in that particular situation. Yeah, hopefully this is making some sense. I don't know how rocky or how like awkward my explanation is. It's pretty difficult. Like, not difficult. I played pretty poorly for part of the mid game, in my opinion, just in terms of like not positioning, not holding on to more Shens. Taking a really long time to commit to a board. Like in some lobbies, if the lobby was like very strong, I feel like this lobby in general isn't that strong. I should have committed a couple turns earlier, right? I would have had +1 Shen, right? Whenever you look at the Shen, think that I would have had +1 Shen. And I lost a couple fights from positioning. That's like the main point, right? You never want to be like opposite corner or like getting your units clumped for Morgana. Right, like, yes, this Kale gives extra AP to this unit, but it's better just to spread out the back line, because if the Morgana hits this way, you know, you're just fucked early, right? Here, I'm deciding if I hold on to Alawis or not. It's kind of difficult to decide. Hold on to Alawis helps me when I'm rolling for Zoes, because, like, the more 3 costs you remove from the pool, the easier it is. But the problem is here that, I don't think I'll have enough gold, and other people are buying Alawis. So I just sell the Alawis. I need to get this component, right? Break this. I'm probably just going to make frontline items here because I'm so far off of Zyra 3. I could try, like, I'm just, like, ideally you get Alawi 3 as well. If I get Alawi 3, then I can play for first. I didn't position against the Lux player, which is my bad, again. But you know, it might be fine. I think I still beat this guy, even with bad positioning. Because Zoe just, like, this is a Zoe 2, by the way. This is a Zoe 2, by the way. But also, don't disregard the fact that I have Combat Caster. Combat Caster is really broken in a lot of comms. That definitely helps a huge amount. One off Zoe, one off Shen. I'm just going to send it to 0 probably this turn. Right? I'm just rolling for Zoe's. There we go, Zoe. And then I should also roll for Shen here. Just to guarantee my top 4. Whenever you're one off of a unit, then the econ thresholds don't matter that much anymore. It's like you just gotta hit your unit or else you're gonna go 8th. It's 32 to level. So I can sell this Riven and then level for Soraka, which is a pretty good spike. I'm really far off of Riven. Obviously, I'm far off of Zyra. I haven't been holding as many Alawi's. So I try to do this. I try to level. And I was just a little bit too late. That's my bad. It took me too long to do that. Like I said, first game of the day. This was the first game of the day that I was playing. I've been playing for a week, and there's always a video like this when you watch VODs that you're a little bit sluggish, just like a warm-up game. I 100% I think beat this guy if I had Soraka in here, because my Zoe would have taken a little bit less damage, and she probably would have lived to do one more cast. If you look how close it was, it's just these 2 units and the ghostly stacks. Right, this dude would have died in like one more auto, and then it's just killed a Morgana. I didn't position for this guy, nor did I get my Soraka in, and I pumped all my gold and I didn't make econ, so that was just like the worst played round ever. If you see that round, you think that I'm shit at the game, go ahead, whatever. That was pretty bad, right? But, you know, sometimes you have rounds like that. This whole game entirely, like, not at fault of Zoe, not at fault of my board, at my own fault, I lost at least 20 HP. Just from making really, really, really bad plays. Very slow, very sluggish. But, you know, we criticize myself. These are my own VODs. I'm allowed to call myself bad. And, you know, respectfully, if you guys aren't dicks about it, you can call me bad as well. But, you know, it's a learning experience, right? So me pointing out the mistakes I made and trying to elaborate of how impactful they are will help you not make the same mistakes in your own games. And then if you don't make the mistakes in your games, you can rank up better and you can end up being better than me, right? We barely win that fight, but this guy was very strong. It's pretty much a guaranteed top 4 at this point. If I didn't mess up so many rounds, getting to this final board state, I would have been fine. Obviously, I think Diana is a little bit higher cap here. Oh, this part's... Oh, this fucking sucks here. Okay, so, like, I want a frontline item. Soraka adds the support items. I really wanted... what's it called? I really wanted this item, but it's on a faded emblem. So I don't know what to do, and I'm kind of just, like, flailing. So I don't know. I just take Virtue of the Martyr with a Sunfire. Right? It's like... I don't know what the best item is here. Let me look at this carousel again. So I have second pick. Right? What's the best pick? Like, is this Unstable Treasure Chest and Story Weaver? Then I play 5 Story Weaver and I get Kale on deck? It's like, I don't think it's Story Weaver Emblem, right? I don't think it's Story Weaver Emblem. Sunfire Cape is pretty shit as well. I would have liked this, but this needlessly big gem is so fucking trash. So I don't want this with the gem, because the gem's never going to proc. I should have just taken Tahm Kench with the Faded Emblem. I think Moonstone Gem is so fucking strong that I should have just taken this, and I probably would have gotten a better placement. I also could have taken Kindred, but Annie's just 4 gold, and I have no gold, so I took the 4 gold version. I don't know. Like, it would have been so easy if the Faded Emblem wasn't with this thing, because then I would have just sniped it. This was definitely the wrong choice, because I could have just taken Kindred and get a better frontline item as well. But I took this because Annie's 4 gold, and I'm considering to myself, maybe I have enough gold to roll for something else. This was the Lux player that felt like they were very far ahead. Remember when I said they have Lux 3 already? These are also Scuttle Puddle boards, so everybody's going to hit a board and be very high cap. I put Virtue of the Martyr on Alawi here. And then I'm still frontlining my Morgana, just because, like, I don't know, I'm scared about this frontline stalling. I don't think Morgana does enough damage to justify her being in the back line, because only Morgana won. Right, I'm kind of down to just leave her up there. And then I put on Alawi Virtue of the Martyr. I should have maybe put Virtue of the Martyr on somebody else. The thing is, I want my Alawi to die, so that Virtue of the Martyr procs sooner. But I should still be fine. This is a bad matchup for this guy because it's literally like... It's literally Kaisa, which procs all the ghostly stacks, just melting her whole team for me, which is great. I'm trying to think what could have been better. Like I think sacking Alawi is really good. So I think I should just like I should not put her in second row. I should put Alawi up one row so that Virtue of the Martyr procs. Because the way Virtue works is that your team recovers 14% of their HP if the unit dies. If the unit doesn't die, they recover 7% of their HP. So I don't think this Alawi really matters that much, and she's gonna get the same amount of ghostly stacks anyways. So I'd rather just put her here, make her die, and then Virtue of the Martyr my Shen, so my Shen recovers a little bit more HP. I think that would probably be the better variation or the better way to play this board. Obviously, I'm putting Zoe here because of the the Lux player. I don't want to get like sniped and lose my Zoe early. The problem with that is that now I'm playing against Reapers, right? The Reapers, they all cluster around my Shen, and then the King gets a wrap, kills my Zoe, so I just lose this fight for free. I don't know if there's anything I could have done about this. It's just because I have to position around the Lux player who's also in my pool, right? So it's like the Lux player, the Reaper player. I think that in general, if there's two people at opposite positions, you should always position for the one that has lower HP. Because this guy, even if I beat him, it's going to be hard to outcap him because he's just going to be so many more lives than me. So the mistake I made was that I prioritized positioning around the Lux player when I should have positioned around the Reaper player. Right, I should have tucked my Zoe in the corner and make sure that I do as much damage as possible. Because if I beat the Reaper player, I forget who the Reaper player is, but I think the Reaper player might outplace me, right? Because the Reaper player, I think, is this guy or this guy, right? So if I beat the Reaper player, I would be more HP than the Reaper player, and that would give me a better chance of getting a second rather than a third, or a third rather than a fourth, right? So if you have to position around two people, you should always position around the person that, like, you directly contest the person that is closest to you in terms of HP, right? Because that's what matters the most, right? You're not going to outplace this guy. It's going to be very hard to outplace this guy. He has 70 HP. You have 20 HP. You have to beat him like 4 or 5 times in a row. And with matchup RNG and other stuff like that, it becomes very difficult. Here I'm rolling for Morgana. As soon as I hit Morgana 2, I'm going to backline Morgana. And we'll see how it goes, right? I have just Morgana 1 by backliner anyways. I could also frontliner with Hodge. I don't know. But I think it's fine. I'm clumped against Morgana again, but I think I just have way more damage than this guy, so I should beat him. I'm pretty sure I just beat him straight up. Like, I wasn't really worried about this positioning. Like, even if the Morgana hits, as long as I'm not in the corner against the Lilia, that the Lilia ball is going to kill my Zoe early, I should just be able to DPS check him. Yeah, just dead. Which is totally fine. But yeah, like I said, so there's like 3 mistakes. I should have been like 20. I think I should have been plus 20 HP. Also, the last fight I should have won, so I should be plus like 30 HP. I should be like 50 HP right now, right? I'm pretty sure this is the Reaper player, by the way. So we're gonna fight the Reaper player and see what happens. Morgana 2, she's like my secondary carry, so I feel really good. I'm fighting against the Reaper player, so now I'm gonna actually position properly for the Reaper player, right? You position in such a way that even if they try and wrap, they don't get to your Zoe until much later. And then they just take the brunt force of the Zoe just like trying to one-shot them. So you tuck the Zoe in super safe. And as you can see, I'm going to fight this Reaper guy. And I'm probably going to win. I don't see how this guy beats me. It's going to be very hard for this guy to win this fight. Just because like Shen 3 with this Zoe 3, like, I don't know. I have so much damage online. I'm pretty sure I just win. Oh, it's looking kind of stressful. Do I lose this actually? Maybe I just lose it. Oh god, I just lose? Never mind. Damn. Okay, so I would have lost against this guy anyways. Well, I lose against this guy anyways. Did his board change at all from last time I fought him? Last time I felt like it was very close. Curious. I'm unsure actually. Because I thought for sure I could beat that guy. I might just get an Aatrox 3 for fun. He has Thieves Gloves anyways. And we'll see what happens. I don't think I beat the Lux player. I think the Lux player just has way more DPS than I do. Right? The problem against playing with Lux is that you need to, how do I phrase it? The Lux has so much damage with the Janna that I'm probably going to lose my my Shen before my Zoe can get her cast off in time. So I think I just lose this fight no matter what. He also has Exalted in. Jesus Christ, this guy's so fucking strong. A Mumu 3. So I position for the Lux. Let's see if I win this fight. I don't think I do, though. I think I just lose against Clone anyways. And then it's just a third. Let's see. Oh, God. Yeah, I'm just dead. This guy's so strong. This is like max cap, I think, of this board. You just hit everything. Oh, yeah, and look, this guy lost the last fight. So if I won that one fight against him, there was a chance I go second. Yeah, I don't know. Not the best played game I've ever played, but definitely not the worst played game. But anyways, hopefully at least there was still the takeaway of, like, if you're playing around this Ghostly Zyra line or Ghostly Zoe line, that if you can prioritize playing around Zoe, obviously it's a little bit more greedy. It's a little bit, it might be a little bit riskier, but it does give you a lot of outs, right? If I didn't have Shen, I could have played around Tahm Kench 3, right? I could have played around some other units, because the board is easily pivotable off of the Ghostly units, right? Obviously, if you hit the Shen 3, you're just playing around Shen 3. Also, when you're playing around Shen, the reason people usually go for Zyra is because it's efficient rolling, right? You're rolling for multiple 2 costs on level 6, so the odds are a lot better for you to hit everything. It's the same reason why Janna works really well with Zyra. But to me, at least, I typically prefer to play Zoe. Yeah, hopefully this was a fun video. Make sure to enter the contest and enter the giveaway. And yeah, if you haven't tried out this line, definitely try it out with itemizing Zoe if you've had problems itemizing Zyra, right? I've had a lot of bot 4s where I play this comp and I play with Zyra instead of Zoe. And I feel like Zoe's just so much more stable in stage 2, just a basic upgrade Zoe with triple item, that I'd much rather prefer to just play Zoe and guarantee a lot more easily guarantee a top 4, right? But anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of day.